Now, we can pick a number of questions people are apprehensive about asking their partner in a relationship, but there's one that is a big one, more close to the top of the list, if not at the top of the list, that people are very scared to ask their partner usually. But the thing is, they really need to ask this question to know. You need this awareness. People are often so nervous about asking their partner, do I support you the way you need to be supported? Now, there could be different variations of that question, right? It could be, am I doing enough for you? Am I enough for you? What am I doing wrong? It can be a variation of this question, but it boils down to you wanting to know, hey, am I showing up the way you need me to show up? And people can be very, very scared to ask that question for a multitude of reasons. See, to ask that question opens a can of worms on both sides potentially that someone can be almost petrified to do. And it becomes more and more of a scary thing the less secure you are in yourself. See, that's usually the bread and butter to why asking questions like that is difficult to do. Because already as humans at a natural space, none of us wants to be the problem. None of us wants to be the bad guy, if you will, right? We always want to be the solution. We want to be the add-on to our partner's lives because we think highly of ourselves. We think we are special, or at least we like to believe that. Some people are telling themselves that, but they don't really believe it, right? But we want to believe that about ourselves, and the external world helps to validate that for ourselves oftentimes. Now, that's a reverse engineer wiring. It should be the other way around. You should determine what your value is, and the outside world should have less to do with trying to tell you otherwise. But I get it, though. It's hard to feel you are, valued in a certain way if life results don't sort of reflect it. And there's something fair in that, right? So where no one can tell you you're not valuable because, they just said so. By your own definition, though, what your external results produce should say something to you about how valuable you are operating as, not your intrinsic value as a human, but how valuable you are being to another human being out there, right? So that's always going to be determined by what your standards are. Do you feel like you're showing up a certain way in all the things, right? Now, that's the way it's supposed to go. And so you make that determination and then you evaluate off of the results you're getting on whether you're living up to your own standard. But most people, when they're in relationships, are letting their partner's perspective dictate whether or not they're enough because they haven't come to a full conclusion, undoubtedly, unwaveringly, that they believe they are exactly as valuable as they want to believe they are in their mind versus what their body is saying. Because that body will never lie. No matter how much you try to convince yourself of something intellectually and tell yourself something over and over again, if you don't truly believe it, remember, understanding is comprehension, right? That's what we have in our intellect. Knowing is in your fibers. It's through your nervous system. It's in your body. It is you. It becomes belief. It becomes identity. So if you don't truly believe the things you want to tell yourself about yourself that wants to paint you to be amazing or whatever you want to see yourself as, your body is always going to show you your truth, even if you hide that truth from other people. To where if you want to say, oh, I'm great, I'm really confident in whatever this area is, but you're really not, you're going to get a feeling that goes to your body that says, no, I'm not really so confident. You'll feel it. You might do a good job at masking it to where you learn to control your body enough to not show any bodily reaction. But oftentimes people don't do that good of work at learning self-mastery and control of their physical attributes, right? To where the moment they feel something that goes against what they're saying, their body language will say much more than what their mouth is saying. And so it's when you're in that position that asking a question to your partner of, hey, do you feel like I support you the way you need to be supported, is a slippery slope because you're opening the door for them to expose any insecurities you deep down have had this whole time that you already believed. Heck, most people won't even go to attempt to ask that question out of what they may learn. Because maybe deep down, you've been walking around feeling like you're not showing up the way you should be for your partner. You're not meeting their needs the way they need. You can tell by the way they react to you that that spark isn't there the way it once was, or it never has been there for you the way they described it being there for a past ex or something like that. And instantly, which is kind of natural to do, we start to question our value to that person. But see, people don't stop there. They tie that person valuing you, your partner valuing you, to your value as a person in general. And that's when you start putting yourself into an unhealthy, slippery slope in a toxic slide, if you will, right? But I can't stress enough where the very fact that you're scared to ask that question to your partner is one of the biggest reasons why you must ask your partner that question. You just have to learn to build the reassurance in yourself, because your partner can't give it to you, that their answer does not mean something bad about you, the person, right? It's okay to fall short of your partner's mark at times, as long as you're willing to work on whatever they're saying they're not getting from you, as long as it aligns with you. But it's okay to accept that you're not meeting what they require, to not say that it means that you're broken, like you're the problem, there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean you're the issue because you're not meeting their needs. It means you're not doing something that they require to be a contribution to their needs. That's all it means. And whenever you get over yourself, if you will, it opens the floodgates for you being able to understand your partner better and be able to do your part as a partner to actually be and feel like the partner that you want to be to them, without fear, without worry. And then here's what else it does. It starts to chip away at the doubt that maybe you're not enough, of you just sitting back and just evaluating the way your partner's operating towards you and towards other people, and trying to come to your own conclusions on your own, right? Which is, by the way, a very unhealthy form of communication, because you're communicating to yourself and your mind about your partner, and you're making conclusions and coming to decisions, right? You're coming to conclusions based off of decisions you're making absent their input, right? You're just evaluating through your own lens, and you're almost thinking for them, because you're coming to conclusions that you can only really come to in a most effective way if you add them into the dialogue. So when you build the courage enough to go and ask your partner that type of a question, you strip the you out of it, right? Stop focusing on you so much and taking whatever they say personal and being ready to defend and shut down whatever answer they start to give you. Or if they start saying something that does kind of show that you have some accountability to take, and you get really defensive and you push it back on them. Well, no, I do that because you start explaining away their feelings. And look, I've been there before at one point in my past relationships, right? I don't do it these days, right? Because I've learned, I lived and I've learned. But I've been there before where my partner was telling me how she felt about something, and I explained it away. That wasn't my intent. I thought of myself as being a good person and being a good boyfriend and all these other things. And I think I was. And so what she was saying in my mind registered as, you're not being a good boyfriend. So I started defending my character, defending myself, right? But that's only because I was more focused on me instead of actually hearing and embracing what she's saying, and not tying her obstacle with me to my identity. So when you build the courage enough to be able to do that, now you open the door up to actually seeing your partner in a new light you never had before. But here's what else happens. You also create this space where your partner truly starts feeling heard the way they never had before. It's where they start to reinvest into you if they weren't already, or they start to believe, oh, wow, I can get whatever needs that I needed to have met with my partner and I didn't think I could, right? You're going to surprise them, because now they're going to see, wow, they're really willing to listen to me and just hear me out and care about what matters to me and not make it about them, right? But the ultimate thing happens beyond all that as well. Whenever you're able to offer this type of a space and be daring enough to ask that question, you may come to learn you're doing everything your partner does need. You may come to learn there's actually a different reason to why you've been getting this experience from them that maybe they haven't been doing the best job at communicating. Maybe something's going on with inside of them on their journey, right? Because there's still two individuals going through your own seasons, even though you're together. So maybe they're going through a season, or maybe there's something happening, in their career, workspace that they haven't shared with you for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't think of it. Maybe they didn't want to bother you with it. Maybe they didn't want to be negative. All these things to where you're experiencing the output, but not understanding the reason and the root as to why. The amount of relief it will give you to be able to ask a question like that and get more clarity right? On where they're at with things from what they're saying to you. And look, if you say, hey, well, what if they do have an issue with me, but they don't want to tell me? And they're just coming to say, oh, well, it's just I'm stressed at work, but I don't really believe that. Okay, ask more empowering questions. Ask better empowering questions. Dig into it more. Well, what do you mean? Well, talk to me about it. Let me know what's bothering you most about it, right? Go levels deep, get into substance to where the deeper they have to go, the less likely it is they can be bamboozling you or trying to shield you from their truth because they think you might take it poorly or whatever, right? And the further they go down, if it's not authentic, you're most likely going to have an idea of it. But even that puts you in a better position to where if you can be even more confident and courageous, right? Or courageous first, because confidence comes after you do, right? But if you could be even more courageous to say, hey, I'm hearing you, but it's hard for me to follow what you're saying right now, that this is about work and so forth. Are you sure there's nothing on my end that I'm not doing to show up for you, right? Something that doubles down on showing them, no, this is a safe space. Hey, I really want to hear your truth. And you can say that. Yeah, if you're something that really is on my end, I really want you to be able to feel comfortable that you can say it. I know maybe in the past, because maybe you have in the past been so receptive to what they say. I know in the past I haven't been so receptive to hearing this, but it's going to benefit me to know, right? So that I can do my part to try to be a better partner for you, right? And it also helps you be more at ease. And notice that key piece I said there. You be a better partner for them. You asking this question, if there is anything that you are not showing up in the way that they need, empowers you to be a better you, right? Never be scared of asking questions or leaning into things that will make you a better you. If anything, it feels scary because it's such an important area for you that you don't want it to go wrong. You don't want it to be bad. You don't want it to be off. And so if that's the case, you have to go through that thing so that it can stop being a pain point, a blind spot for you, a weakness. It's really things that we are heavily scared of, which really fear lives and thrives in you being concerned about the unknown, right? You having belief in the unknown in a negative light, right? Something that you can't say, for sure is going to happen or going to be, but you're convicted enough to where it has created fear in you, right? And so that creates weak points for you because then it creates avoidance. It starts to get you to walk around things and move away from stuff instead of learning how to deal with and go through things. And then you spend your life not living in the ideal way that's natural to you because you're avoiding stuff. Where if you weren't fearful of that thing, you wouldn't avoid it at all. You would just keep going on your path and you would have more of your true journey that you're supposed to be on. And here's one last little piece I want to add in here that most don't think of. Most people are being so fearful of asking a question like that in the first place, to just ask, hey, do you feel like I'm supporting you enough or well enough? And if not, how can I do better? Like, what can I do to be better? Right? Most people are scared enough to ask that because of their insecurities and all the, the self-doubt that they have. And they feel like it's going to confirm that or expose something or put them out there. Right? And they have a hard time taking accountability because a lot of times we equate us having a flaw to our value and our love worthiness. Right? Because, and let me say this too. Oftentimes when people fear asking that question, they don't want to ask it because their partner says, hey, yes, you're not showing up for me the way I need, or there is an area that I feel like I'm lacking in from you. People simultaneously hear that they don't love them now, right? It's like, well, if I'm not showing up and meeting all their needs the right way, then you love me less. And it couldn't be further from the truth oftentimes, but that's the thoughts people get into. But if you can be courageous enough to ask this question, right? Then here's the beautiful part on the other side of it, right? If you get out of your own way, stop thinking about how much you're scared about asking this, and you can actually go through with it and you can embrace whatever their truth is. You don't have to agree with everything they're saying, but you at least you can embrace what they're saying and validate their feelings and then work with them in the middle to land a plane on what they kind of need. But that then opens the door for if you have anything that you feel they're not measuring up to for what you require, it opens the door for you to be able to offer the same thing or ask to, communicate the same thing. Maybe you don't always do it in that same conversation. If you do, you definitely want to wait until you've spent all the time you can fleshing out and working through whatever their concerns are and come up with solutions for how you can be better or what they think and what you agree with. But then it leaves you on the other end if you want to continue that conversation on and they're okay with it, to now add in, hey, And I just wanted to add here some things that I would like as well. I brought this question to you because I wanted to know what your things were, but I also had some things I wanted to share as well that I would like to, have worked on so we both could be happy here. And they can't argue with that, right? Because you've offered them the same space and the same grace as you're asking right now. And it'll be very selfish of them to just want to refute or not offer you that same thing. And watch this. If they also struggle sometimes to ask a question like that to you because they're scared of what you may say, then now you've just been a grade A example that it's okay to hear constructive criticism, right? Which makes them more inclined to hear yours in return without wanting to bail the way they would have originally if you never brought it to them in the first place. If you need help building the courage and the self-confidence to live in your truth more and ask the tough questions that will ultimately benefit you greatly towards your growth, towards your happiness and your partner's happiness and the harmony of your relationship, then email or DM me the word coaching and we'll get to work as long as you're truly ready to put the work in. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, don't have the time or the space, then at least email or DM me the word revival to join my Relationship Revival Hub community, where you can learn the same things I teach my clients one-on-one at your own pace on your own time. Either way, do something to get in the race. Let's get it.